Good evening. What you're about to hear is a segment that mainstream viewers never got to see. It aired live, in full, only to be edited, clipped, and scrubbed from subsequent broadcasts. But the original cut has resurfaced, and tonight, you'll hear exactly what went down when Clint Eastwood faced off against Joy Behar in a moment that changed morning TV. They say the production crew held their breath the second Eastwood challenged Behar on stage. A single line, simple, direct, sent shockwaves through the studio and left the view scrambling to contain it. It's no secret the executive editor asked for the roll call footage to disappear from the official grid. Tonight, we restore it. What follows is the uncut exchange, raw, electric, and unrelenting. Whoopi Goldberg smiled wide, her voice bright and welcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a true Hollywood icon, Clint Eastwood. The audience roared. The man himself walked out slowly, that familiar calm gait, nodding politely to the crowd. He shook hands with Whoopi, nodded to the rest of the panel, and took a seat. Joy Behar leaned back, arms crossed, that familiar smirk already forming. "Clint, you've been in this business forever," she said. "Still making movies, still stirring headlines. You ever think about retiring?" Eastwood chuckled softly. "I figure when people stop showing up to see the work, that's when I'll stop doing it." The crowd laughed. He had them instantly. The air was light, for now. Whoopi jumped in. "Tell us about this new film, Clint. I hear it's about redemption." "Yeah," he said. "About how sometimes people don't need to be canceled. They need a chance to make things right." That line landed. Even the control booth felt it. Joy tilted her head, eyebrow raised. Redemption, huh? Interesting word these days. A few seconds of silence passed, too long for live TV. "What do you mean by that?" Eastwood asked quietly. "Well," Joy began, smiling that reporter's smile, "you've defended people in the past who most would say didn't deserve a second chance. Let's say, for example, your support of certain political figures." Whoopi shifted in her seat. "Joy," she warned. But Joy was already leaning in. "Do you think defending men like Donald Trump fits your idea of redemption?" The audience tensed. The warmth was gone. Eastwood didn't blink. "I don't defend men, Joy. I defend the idea that people should speak freely, even if you don't like what they say." Joy laughed loud and forced. "That's convenient. Freedom of speech for everyone but the people you disagree with." "No," Eastwood said evenly. "For everyone, including you. Even if what you say doesn't make much sense." A ripple of laughter hit the audience. Joy's smile cracked. "Clint," she said, voice rising, "you sound like every angry old man yelling at clouds. Maybe it's time to admit the country's moved past that macho talk." "Maybe it's time," Eastwood replied, "to admit that loud doesn't mean right." The crowd gasped. Whoopi tried to intervene. Okay, let's stay on the movie." But Joy ignored her completely. "You've made a career out of acting tough, Clint. But toughness today means accountability." Eastwood leaned back slowly, eyes never leaving hers. "Accountability. That's a big word, Joy. Tell me, who holds you accountable when you twist people's words for ratings?" Silence. Whoopi froze. Sarah Haynes stared at the table. Even the stage hands stopped moving. "This isn't Fox News," Joy snapped. "You don't get to come here and lecture me." "Lecture?" Eastwood said. "No, ma'am. I'm just answering the question you asked. You wanted truth, you got it." The audience clapped. A few shouted his name. Joy's voice tightened. "You know what your problem is, Clint? You can't handle strong women pushing back." "Strong women." Eastwood replied. "No problem there. Just loud ones confusing volume for strength." The audience exploded. Laughter. Whistles. The control room whispered, "We can't air this." Joy turned red. "You think insulting me makes you look smart?" "No," he said quietly. "I think you're doing that part just fine yourself." That line hit like a sledgehammer. The crowd gasped again, half in awe, half in disbelief. Joy stood up, shaking. "I don't have to take this from you." "Good," Eastwood said calmly. "Because I'm not offering it." She glared. "This is my show." "Then act like it," he said, voice low, cold, surgical. "Because right now it looks like you lost control of it." Whoopi called for commercial, but the mics were still hot. Joy hissed, "Get him off this set." Eastwood smiled faintly. "I was planning on it." He stood up slowly, straightened his jacket, and turned to the audience. "Folks, I came here to talk about a story, about forgiveness, second chances, and decency. Guess we're short on all three today." He removed his mic, handed it to a stunned crew member, and walked off stage. The studio went dead silent. Joy tried to recover, laughing nervously. "Well, I guess Clint's not used to being challenged." Whoopi shot her a look. He wasn't the one who lost his cool. The audience applauded. On live television. The network cut the feed seconds later. When the replay aired that afternoon, the walk-off was gone, edited out completely. But someone in the control room leaked the full tape online. Within 12 hours, it hit 1 million views. Clips spread across social media under one headline. Clint Eastwood ends Joy Behar's career without raising his voice. By morning, the comments poured in. "That's how you handle arrogance." Clint didn't argue, he executed. The last real man on TV. The studio lights dimmed as Eastwood disappeared behind the curtain. For a moment, no one moved. Camera operators stared through their lenses, waiting for a signal that never came. Joy Behar sat frozen, microphone still live, breathing hard into dead air. The red light above the main camera flickered off. Inside the control room, a producer whispered, "Did that just happen?" Another voice snapped, "Cut to commercial, now." But the feed had already gone out live to millions. When The View returned from break, Joy forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Well," she said, laughing stiffly, "that was unexpected." The audience clapped out of confusion more than support. Whoopi kept her head down, reading from the teleprompter, as if pretending nothing had happened. The rest of the show limped to its closing credits in awkward silence. But the damage was already done. Clips of the exchange hit social media before the broadcast even ended. One raw phone recording, taken by a studio audience member, captured Eastwood's last line in perfect audio quality. "Real power is knowing when to walk away." That 10-second clip detonated online. By evening, it had racked up 2 million views across TikTok and Twitter, and it was only getting started. News outlets scrambled to get statements. ABC issued a short release claiming Mr. Eastwood left due to a scheduling issue. No one believed it. Independent journalists leaked screenshots from the internal Slack feed showing producers panicking in real time. One message read, "Joy's lost it. He's walking. Someone kill the mics." By nightfall, the View hashtag had turned into a digital battlefield. Supporters of Joy called Eastwood fragile, arrogant, and past his prime. But the larger wave, millions of comments, told a different story. People were tired of what they saw as media bullying. Eastwood, whether intentionally or not, had become a symbol of composure under fire. Podcasters replayed the footage frame by frame. Body language analysts broke it down like a boxing match. At the exact moment Joy leaned forward to interrupt him, Eastwood didn't flinch. His eyes never left hers. That unbroken stare became the meme of the week. Underneath, captions read, "That's the look that built Hollywood." Within 48 hours, talk radio hosts were dissecting the incident as if it were a national event. One conservative commentator said, "What we just saw wasn't an interview. It was a cultural reset." A liberal columnist wrote, "Joy Behar met the one guest she couldn't rattle. Even late-night comedians couldn't resist." On The Tonight Show, the host joked, "Clint Eastwood was on The View today." And The View? It was Joy Behar's blood pressure. The clip continued climbing. 5 million views, 10 million, 15. By the end of the week, The View's YouTube channel quietly disabled comments on the segment. Meanwhile, in Carmel, California, Clint Eastwood's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, agents, producers, everyone wanted a quote. He gave none. Only one statement appeared through his publicist. When a conversation stops being about ideas and starts being about noise, it's time to stand up and leave the room. That line alone was enough to light up every feed again. News anchors read it on air as if it were a courtroom verdict. People started tagging it under clips of other public meltdowns, a new shorthand for walking away with dignity. Behind the scenes, ABC executives met to discuss damage control. Anonymous insiders leaked details. Joy Behar had been asked to issue a soft apology on Monday's broadcast. She refused. Instead, she opened the show with a forced laugh. Apparently, Clint Eastwood and I disagree. I'll survive. But the ratings told another story. Viewership dropped 15% that week, the show's steepest decline in over a year. Eastwood's team said nothing, released nothing, posted nothing. And that silence spoke louder than any rebuttal could have. 2 weeks later, at a small film festival Q&A, a journalist finally asked him directly, "Mr. Eastwood, do you regret walking off The View?" He smiled faintly. "No. Sometimes the only way to finish a conversation is to stop having it." The crowd erupted in applause. That single answer became the headline across major outlets. Clint Eastwood breaks silence on The View walk-off. For younger viewers, it was their first time seeing Eastwood outside of movies. Not a character, not a cowboy, just a man choosing principle over theater. For older audiences, it felt like déjà vu, the last stand of a Hollywood generation that believed in saying less and meaning more. In the end, the clash wasn't about politics. It wasn't about Hollywood versus talk TV. It was about one thing: respect. The kind of respect that can't be shouted into existence, only earned through composure when every camera in the world is watching. Joy Behar kept her seat. Clint Eastwood kept his dignity. And somewhere between those two outcomes lies the reason this story refuses to die. If you want to keep hearing the stories that networks cut down, the full conversations that never make the highlight reels, make sure you subscribe. Because as long as the microphones stay hot, we'll keep the record straight.